Hey guys, it's Ryan. Just a quick update. This one was kind of long, so only about the first 45 minutes of it is our regular podcast with Seth. About 10 to 12 minutes in is our Ignorant Experts segment, and then everything after that it's just kind of local news, and then us talking about some stuff like Star Wars and some gaming news. Everything after that is our favorite anime and webtoons of 2020. We're going to try and do some more of that over the next few weeks. So if you like that, I'm going to upload that separately. Otherwise, I'm going to leave it attached to the full podcast today, and then I'll upload that separately. Thanks for listening in, and we'll see you guys next week. All right, welcome back to episode 7 of our podcast, the Ignorant Experts podcast. We've got an extra tonight. Seth has joined us for tonight's events. It's going to be great. Everybody's here. I'm so excited.
So happy to be included.
We're so happy to include you, Seth. You're like one of the family. Literally, to some people, and figuratively to
literally, yeah. Part of our
some more than others.
Small group of banditos.
Obviously, most to me, and then maybe.
I was gonna say.
I don't know who next, but
I don't know. He and I have been married for a while, so.
I didn't know that.
I am an ignorant on this topic of you being married to Seth. I attended the first wedding, not the second one, though, apparently.
I know you attended the second wedding.
Oh, okay. All right.
Did you guys elope with the first one? I'm very confused.
It was while I was in college.
I'm very interested. All right.
Oh, well, we had a honeymoon when Seth was in college. We spent a week together of pure bliss.
Oh, did we beat Ancient Dragon? It was beautiful.
We beat Ancient Dragon in that week. It was amazing.
It was a glorious week. Put an NSFW tag somewhere. Anyway, we're doing our normal segment of 5-minute expert. Blaze and Fuzz are the experts this time, and Zach and I have prepared topics. Zach, you want to go first? You want me to go first?
You can go first.
Okay, Fuzz.
Mm-hmm.
Your word or your topic is Tantalum. I'll post it in the Discord.
Tantalum.
Yep. Tantalum.
Yes.
Let me get the counter going because I didn't do that ahead of time because I'm not prepared.
Again, that's Tantalum.
I'll put it up on the
Fuzz
screen.
is an expert for Tantalum.
I'll put it up on the screen as soon as I can find my thing.
Right now, that's tandem.
That's definitely not tandem. Tandem is two things together side by side.
Ooh. Shots fired.
So where's the root origin of this word from, Fuzz?
The root origin of this word is in the Roman and Greek words, which I guess is Latin. I'm not really a word guy. I'm a tantalum expert. So, but yeah, kind of similar to the word tangent. The tantalum is tangential, but it's not. Tangential is like a verb, and so tantalum is a noun describing that thing or name of that thing. It's in the tantalum of the schema.
I see. So no relation to the word tantalizing.
No relation to the word tantalizing, no. Unfortunately.
So being an expert on this, what does that involve? What did you do to become an expert on things that are similar to other things, but not?
So I started in databases. There's a lot of different ways that you can set up a database. Most popularly, we would talk about relational databases, where you're defining relationships between different things. And obviously, I use the word schema before this, and a schema is a way to describe the layout of a database, basically. And so, within any given schema, if your schema is large enough and complex enough, you have a tantalum. And so I really started from there, from databases, and then it kind of worked out into a greater theory.
Blaze, do you have a question?
So, Fuzzy, what's the most iconic tantalum you've ever experienced?
The most. That's an interesting question.
Good question.
Props to you.
That's a good question.
Well, so in my studies in post grad, when I was working on my tantalum theory, I was invited to go to Amazon Web Services and look at the way their databases are set up. Um, and obviously, again, I'm using database examples here because this is where I've arrived from, but it's not the only way. Anyway, uh, in Amazon Web Services, they had a tantalum. You would think, for most databases they're pretty. You can understand why the tantalum is there, and it makes sense. But they had a tantalum called Harambe, and that was really interesting to me.
Lord.
Because we all know the memes. So yeah, that's the most interesting tantalum to me, the Harambe tantalum.
Hmm.
I mean, that is intriguing. I cannot argue with that.
It's facts.
The
Facts.
Harambe Tantalum.
So,
Tantalum.
and you may have talked about it, but what happened to the Harambe Tantalum?
It still exists in memorandum. In memorandum, the words don't flow for me today. In memoriam,
Hmm.
it exists
Memoriam.
as a living, yeah,
Yeah.
memorial to Harambe, who is no longer with us.
Th-
Taken before his
Yeah,
prime. All right.
taken.
I'll save you from your suffering. Your time is up, Fuzz.
Oh,
Great. I
Yes.
also want to say that there is a tantalum called Epstein didn't kill himself.
fascinating.
Don't censor us, you two. We're sorry. Uh, we're sorry.
I think you mean conspiracy theories. Is Fuzz
Um,
is what you were making.
well, he wasn't exactly close, but he wasn't super. I mean, he's pretty far off. So, tantalum is actually a metal.
Mm.
It's number 73 on the periodic table. It does have its origins. The word tantalum does have its origins in Greek mythology, though. So it is Greek,
He
technically.
technically led with Roman, though.
I mean, okay, we can give him half credit
Not
for
the
it.
same.
Dude, the Romans are all up on that Greek mythology. The Greeks
Well, yeah, where do you think the Romans
were
got it
also
from?
Roman.
so what's it
Yeah.
actually used in?
It's used in it's used in a lot of electronics for capacitors and high power resistors.
Mm.
So
All right.
All right. Well, Blaze, like you usually do, I'm going to give you a choice. Do you want this or do you want that?
A or B, Blaze.
Oh,
I'm
give
so
me that.
I'm so excited for this.
That.
All right, Blaze, you are an expert on chicken sexers.
You have 5 minutes. Go.
You have 5 minutes. You are an expert in chicken sexing.
Okay, so back in it all started back in college. I was really down. I was trying to like make some scrounge, get some money,
Okay.
go have drink some beer on the weekend, and I was trying to find a job. So I was looking around, and then one of my I was down in Alabama at the time, and one of my friends had a farm, and it, he had chickens. So the, the chickens ain't that good at screwing around. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
gotta like you gotta help them out a little bit sometimes.
The chickens.
But
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you help the chickens.
and yeah, so it's a whole thing, and sometimes you gotta like help them out, doing stuff. But re- the main part of it is just like th- you ever look at a chicken? Can you tell if it's
I've seen
like a
chickens.
boy
Yes.
or can you tell if it's a boy or a girl all the time?
Chickens. Uh, chickens. I can kind of. I guess. When they're full grown, I guess I can notice the difference between a chicken and a rooster.
What about the little ones?
I don't know.
See that's where they need the help. Man. because they gotta groom them. They gotta get the little boy chickens, and they gotta put them on steroids, and then they gotta get them all ripped, so that when you go to Walmart, you get the nice big chicken thighs, and
I do enjoy some chicken thighs.
you like a buff ripped chicken corpse to feast upon. You don't want no scrawny chicken, that's
I do like really large chicken breasts.
That's-
You're right. I want a big succulent chicken breast if I'm gonna have it for
Uh,
dinner.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it needs to be extra thick with a C and a K. You know what I'm saying?
A couple of C's. What we gonna say, Fuzz?
I was just going to interject, but I don't know. You guys were getting really hopped up on some chicken breasts.
No. I'm interested.
I was going to ask, what's the most rewarding part of being a chicken sexer?
Throwing them around, manhandling them little chickens.
Let's give you a sense of power.
Yeah.
Oh,
Make you
You
okay.
you ever thrown a baby chicken before?
I have not.
no.
Not like, well, toss is probably a better word. 'Cause, not throwing like a baseball, but just like chucking them little suckers.
Yes,
Oh,
please,
I
PETA,
see.
don't strike us down.
That's all right. We'll be okay.
I
Alright,
mean,
We
Peter
can-
would
we can
say
handle
that
it.
if chickens had room to be thrown, they're probably treated better than most chickens. Anyway.
That's fair.
It is a little known fact that chicken sexing's been around for a long time. And little known fact is that Nobunaga Oda was actually a chicken sexer before he conquered Japan.
Really?
Or tried-
Wow.
This is
Yeah.
facts.
Yeah.
This is history facts.
So, how far back does the history on chicken sexing go?
How long there been chickens?
I see.
It's a lot of.
I,
It's a long time. It's a lot of chicken sexing.
I may not be, the most detailed scholar, but I know about chicken sex.
You know,
I
it's
see.
that's fair. So, what is it exactly that you do for the chicken sexing? Like, can you give us the details?
Well, technically, the job description is telling if it's a little boy chicken or a little girl chicken, and then sorting them out. But then sometimes, so you gotta, you're on the farm, they need help doing other stuff too. So, like these dang chickens, they don't want to screw around, so you gotta like,
Okay. So
you
you're
know,
like
do-
you're like a chicken sex assistant, kind of.
until you like really know what you're doing, and then you just,
So you're like a chicken midwife?
uh,
Mm,
the-
Chicken sex therapist.
Chicken sex
Yeah,
therapist. I like this.
chicken matist helper.
Master mater.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Now I'm with you. Well, we don't have much time left. Seth, you have any questions for him?
No, you guys have answered pretty much.
I do have a question though.
All right, Fuzz.
All right, shoot.
Have you ever thought about branching out into other fields like this? Maybe cows or something like that?
Cow sexer.
Well, technically, I've already moved on, but I do have many years of experience back in the chicken sexing businesses.
I see. I see. And final question. I know we're short on time here. What are the demographics like in the chicken sexer field? What kind of people typically do you find working those jobs?
It depends on what part of the country you're in. If you're down south, it's mostly rednecks.
Broke
But,
college students apparently.
Yeah. Just people wandering onto the farm. It's like, hey, you want to be a chicken sexer? I'll pay you, a little $10 an hour, just to stand there and throw chickens around, look for little penises.
All
That
right.
was
well,
that was all the time we have. Zach, how do you do?
Depending on which part you take from him, he was actually pretty spot on. So chicken sexers, they take the baby chicks and they make sure they're male or female. The reason they do that is because they have to put them on separate diets to produce better chicken for mass marketing
Yep,
of
A
the
plus.
chickens.
Give them the
Mhm.
steroids. Get them thick thighs.
Correct.
Save
Yes,
them
the thick
lives.
thighs and breasts. And he even though he was, I'm pretty sure pulling this out of his butt, was right about it coming from Japan. It started in Japan, and that's where it was learned and brought over to the United States. I don't know about the guy he said, but it was a craft learned from Japanese hatcheries, and the guy that brought it to the United States was John Nida.
That's
So,
not Nobunaga.
I sent
That's the American that brought it back over to the United States. I don't know. I don't know the others. I didn't go that in depth. But
So
it was in the 1940s. It was brought to the United States. Chicken sexing.
where I got that from was a YouTube video because I'd found this before
Oh
you did,
Jesus!
and
Of course.
there was a YouTube video of a Japanese guy in Germany, just he was just chunking those chickens. He was just like, look, chicken penis, chicken penis, chicken penis, chicken.
Oh, are you
penis,
talking
chicken
about
penis.
that like 1940s video of that
Yeah.
guy throwing the chickens around? I saw that.
Yeah, that was a chicken section.
Okay. You know what? I
That's-
forgot that I'd seen that. You heard it here, folks.
It was
You heard it
still
here first.
hilarious.
We weren't sexing chickens till like the 1940s, 1950s. So
That's a bit of information that I will never actually need to know. Thank you, guys.
you're welcome. I find that
Now
most
you
of the
know.
information on
You're
this
less
podcast.
ignorant now.
Yeah,
I
most of the
am, it's
information
true.
on this podcast is information you probably didn't need.
Yes.
How many
That's-
times did you think you would ever hear the term chicken penis in a conversation?
I've heard it far more times than I thought I would have in my entire life. Also, might I add that when we talk about chickens, there might be a more appropriate word.
That's just for the. All right.
I'm trying to keep it
All right.
PG,
All right. All
fuzzy.
right.
Okay.
Although that's probably PG these days.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
It's not, and I'm sorry, YouTube. So
I think penis is allowed. I think it is. I think the other word may be a little bit more sketchy.
It's a technical term.
I'll make sure to
And
put a. I'll make sure to put a content warning ahead of time.
Ryan specifically put it's a technical term in the chicken sexing business.
Okay. I'll make a note somewhere to leave a note for myself to look up the actual term for chicken sexing. That probably is the right term. All right. Well, that was fun.
That is the actual name for it, chicken
Is it?
sexing. But
I believe you.
I
What-
think that the job ones are more fun because you can like kind of know. Well, can't always really know what it is. There's some weird ones.
oh, the other one, option this.
No, hang on to
was
that one. Hang
just
on to
as
it.
good. I'm not gonna say it, but it was just as good.
Yeah, it
Oh, I've
was.
got-
It was pretty good.
My list is probably longer than yours.
Okay, so if anybody wanted to know, even though we're talking about this for way longer than we really need to, apparently, according to Google, chicken sectors make about $60K a year.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's a lucrative job.
So if you wanna find little little chicken dongles,
There's even chick sexing school.
What about chicks exercising?
I
Now
think
you're
that's
just getting
I
ludicrous.
think that's a different
That's-
kind of like Louisiana
that-
thing.
That's
Chicken
people
sex.
fuzz. That's not chickens. That's people.
Oh, okay.
Oof.
But oof. All right. So Ryan and I were talking about it a little bit earlier. We have a little bit of a list of stuff to talk about today. The first thing is more of a Blaze and Fuzz kind of topic. So just came out, the average price of new cars in 2020 reached over 40K for the first time. So that's kind of a big deal. So that was the average price bought in 2020. And we can talk about it for a little bit. So is it more of a cars are getting more expensive or people are buying more expensive cars now?
Yeah.
Kind of want our more car experts, Fuzz and Blaze, to kind of comment on that a little bit.
Both.
Yeah, I would say cars are getting more expensive, but cars are getting more expensive because people are willing to pay for them and take out ridiculous loans. Also,
Well-
the auto industry is willing to give ridiculous loans, like 6-year car loan on a car. That's not car is not an investment. So
Also, the safety requirements. You know, you got like they've got to test the cars. They've got to make sure they meet the safety requirements, and all of that time and resources that go into it increases the cost overall.
right.
And you got to think of like inflation. because every year the price of everything goes up by like 2%.
Well, that's true, but also you have to think of the market in total, including the used car segment. And the Cash for Clunkers program ate up a huge part of the used car segment, which means there are going to be more people who are going to have to buy new cars or choose to buy newer cars than previously because cars are built much better and they last a lot longer now than they used to. And so
That'll, I think that'll fix itself in about 10 years.
maybe. I think planned obsolescence is a real thing, but we'll see.
And
I mean, that's true.
technically cars are lasting longer, but some, not all the time. There's still a lot of like factory defects and stuff that can happen, like big recalls. Like Subaru's had some pretty big problems. Um, I want Toyota fell off of the. They're not the number one anymore for reliability.
I saw that. Who is number one now? I can't
Ma-
remember.
Mazda.
Mazda, huh?
Yeah, and
Tesla.
I think that's still like maybe like the first year, or it because they're releasing this data for new cars and not you know 5 or 10 year old cars.
Hmm.
But Mazda and Toyota are actually partnering up, or they had like an agreement in the last year or two or something.
All right. Well, there you go, folks. There's why cars are getting more expensive and why people are willing to buy them. The next little segment is more focused on video games, kind of our video game news segment. So this week we had a couple huge announcements in video games.
Jeez.
A new, well, first let's preface this by saying EA no longer controls Star Wars games. And let's just do a hallelujah, praise God that EA no longer has that license because
Yeah, a
they
little
have
round of applause.
wasted that license so bad and just they produced one good game in the 12 years they had that license. So
Yeah.
thank goodness they don't have that license anymore.
Like, by the
So
time they got the
It
Battlefront
does-
series, it was doing really well. Like, I really liked the first Battlefront, and then they just kind of ruined it.
Well, I was talking about the newest Star Wars game that came out, the Fallen Order. It
Yeah, I was
was
gonna-
incredible.
So, from what I understand from Fallen Order, that was planned to have a sequel. Now, is that up in the air or has that been canceled?
Probably
Since-
canceled,
I would guess canceled,
since EA doesn't
but
have
it
the rights.
is. But EA can still make games. It's now owned by Lucasfilm Games again, and they can license games to anyone they want. So it's a good thing. Which brings me to the second bit of news. A new open world Star Wars game has been announced by Massive Studios, which is the people that brought us The Division and The Division 2 from Ubisoft.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah,
EA to
so
Ubisoft.
I am pumped because I know at least Blaze and I from this group love The Division. It's super fun, super good gameplay, and it just keeps you coming back for more and more. So I'm just hoping they bring that a Star Wars esque take on that. So it'll be fun.
I hope it's dark and kind of a little gritty, like is that I like the stormtroopers more than the Jedi because the Jedi are. It's hard to put them in games because they're overpowered, technically.
Yeah, I mean they're
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah, I'm excited to see more Star Wars properties go back to Lucasfilms. Because despite what you believe about the prequels, the 3 prequels, and then the original episodes, that universe was really awesome, and all those movies had an impact, regardless if it was positive or negative. It had a really big impact on you, and I think the most recent 3 episodes have been so lackluster and unimpactful that we really just want something that makes us feel. I don't know. I like to see George Lucas come back onto the Star Wars scene. I know that he's been approached about whether or not he would direct another Star Wars movie, and he said he would. So I'm a little excited to see where that's going to go.
Bring it to us. Bring us the George Lucas Star Wars episodes. Bring them to us.
I think that the most recent episodes were pretty good and could have been great. I just think that they were maybe not so. They were a little too candid about the fact that they were going for a girl power thing in the way they wrote the shows. In my opinion, like it just kind of like set it off like that. You could see the
Maybe that's
PC-ness
yeah,
creeping in
maybe
with
that's
that.
what it was for me. It was like you could clearly see that they were pushing an agenda with these movies, and I don't want to see Hollywood's agenda in my movies. If the movie is good, I won't notice it at all.
Like, and you can technically like send messages to people and say, hey, you can be strong if you put in the time and you put in the effort. You can succeed at what you're doing because that's always a good message. But they kind of pulled, they gave her power without like going through the montages and like a lot of the experience. They just kind of like upgraded her between the movies.
Yeah,
I
she was
think.
just super strong for no reason, to be honest. She never
And
trained. She was just a
yeah,
monster, like more powerful than Luke, and she didn't even really train to be that way.
and that might have been explained if the production of the movies just wasn't so terrible. Meaning that clearly everyone knows the story. A director took over for the second one and completely undid the plans that were set forth from the beginning of the first one. And then the third one was just trying to retcon a retcon.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
shows, which is frustrating because I really liked Rogue One as like a standalone. I thought that
that's in my top three Star Wars movies, to be honest.
even though
Rogue
there
One
was
is incredible.
yeah, there was some stuff I could argue wasn't great, but I think overall it was a really good movie. And to go into the Hollywood thing just a little bit, Endgame had this whole fight scene at the very close to the very end where it was like they showed all these really powerful women in the Marvel series, and they kind of have their like girl power moment, and that was the only part of that series that took me out of it because it was so blatantly like, ha, girl power. I never once thought that any of the women in that movie series were lesser at all. Like Black Widow always held her own regardless of not having superpowers. Like I held her in higher regard than Hawkeye. I felt like she was
Still
more
waiting to
useful
see
than
that
That's
Hawkeye.
movie.
not a hard barrier. That's not a
I know
high bar.
it's not a hard barrier, but it's like okay, so you've got literal God of Thunder Thor, and then you've got like super soldier Captain America over here. It's like I thought she was holding her own really well. Like I
Yeah,
didn't think that they needed this like girl power moment, and honestly, it wasn't so bad that it made me not like the movie. But the Star Wars like we're driving this outside of the movie narrative took me out of it so much I couldn't even watch the movies.
Yeah.
I just didn't
That's all.
like them because they're basically the the original trilogy again. That was my problem with them.
Yeah,
In a way,
well,
yeah. Well,
that
yeah.
they were probably going for like a nostalgia thing,
I guess.
So
but
from the interviews I've seen, the original being a carbon copy of the first one was set up on purpose. And whether you want to come
Yeah.
back and say, well, that's just a lazy excuse, is another conversation.
It
But
is a lazy excuse. Sorry.
yeah, but the director's intent, from what he was saying, is he wanted to start bridging the gap between new and old by starting with an established formula before starting to rock the boat with new ideas and new directions.
And I
And
don't.
so he wanted
I
to
hate
try to
that.
ease people back into the Star Wars world. And yeah, you could say like we don't need that; it's already established. It could be you could make the very strong argument of Endgame, or I'm sorry, Infinity War, where as soon as the movie starts, we know what's happening. We've built over this for the last decade. They're just like we're jumping in this.
oh,
Like,
okay, you guys have brought it up, but does anyone else feel like Infinity Endgame should have been two movies?
Mm,
It was two movies.
No,
So you
the
mean it
end.
should be three part?
Yeah, and
yeah, because there was what was it Infinity War?
Infinity War and
yeah,
then Endgame.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was basically well.
Endgame should have been split into two movies.
Blaze, we all agreed that Ant Man should have just crawled up Thanos' butt and then just
and then
expanded.
expanded.
Yeah, we all agreed that
I
it was a retcon for Tony to get the glove and then snap. We all agree that it was the
Spoilers
taking the
don't matter
cheater
like
way
that, though.
out. Dude, it's been like 3 years since that movie came out. There's no spoilers. Everybody in America saw that movie.
Yeah.
No, Ryan.
I would
you've
At
rather-
got
least
it.
twice.
At least
You've
twice.
got it wrong.
I've seen it
They
twice.
were supposed to go back in time and then kidnap baby Thanos and throw him into the sun.
Yeah.
And then Black Widow would not have died.
Yeah.
You know what? Even they could have had Black Widow just smother baby Thanos. I feel like her character could do it.
Yeah, she's tough. And can
Maybe.
they please finally just bring that movie out? Like, I'm actually excited for the Black Widow movie. Like, I want to see it, but they just will not bring it out.
So, speaking of like their spin-off stuff, what is that WandaVision show that's like set in the 80s or 70s?
I have zero idea what it is.
I saw a trailer for it. Maybe it was
I don't-
today or yesterday. I saw a trailer for it recently, and I was like, "Well, that's another Marvel show I'm just not probably gonna watch."
It looks like a reality TV show based around the Black. What's her name?
Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet Witch and
Vision.
the Vision. So it just looks like a comedy TV show about those two, which
Well,
I mean that might be some people's thing, but like, meh.
Well, they kind of hinted that there being something else to it, and maybe some people have theorized they're on.
Well, like
I can't remember, but basically there's some other villain that can mix realities or is like big on entertainment.
that's so many villains.
Which that
Yeah.
kind of bleeds into the new Doctor Strange movie coming out. I can't remember the exact title for it, but it's basically like a cross or a multiverse thing.
What were we gonna say, Blaze?
Yeah, I think it came out. Or I think it's streaming on Disney Plus.
WandaVision?
And,
Yeah, I think it came out. The first episode came out the other day.
I was gonna watch it tonight.
Well, let us know what you think.
Yeah.
Next week.
Yeah.
So
next week, let us know what you think.
was there any more news, by the way, on the video game section? Because we kind of.
Yes, we kind of got crazy with Star Wars there for a minute. Another new game was announced this week. It's gonna be a huge game.
Elden Ring.
An Indiana Jones game
Oh,
by Bethesda.
Confuse me like that.
that's not Elden Ring.
Elden Ring
There
at
was
all?
some Elden Ring news this week, but that
Wait.
less than.
It wasn't.
Anyway.
it wasn't
Not coming
notable.
out.
It wasn't notable.
It wasn't
Elden Ring
notable.
news.
It was just some
So-
art by the one of the guys that did the trailer for E3.
Yeah.
But so a new Indiana Jones game by Bethesda. All we know is that it's an Indiana Jones game and it's made by Bethesda. And I can't for the life of me think of the leader of Bethesda's name right now, but he will be one of the leads working on the game. So
So the
Which
issue I have with that, and sorry, Blaze, I don't mean to interrupt you, is I feel like we've already gotten, for the gaming world, the pinnacle Indiana Jones experience in the Uncharted franchise.
I do agree with that to a
No.
degree, but
But
this is actual Indiana Jones and not Sony's take on Indiana Jones. Basically, is what
I would
Uncharted is.
also say that Indiana Jones mixed with open world Skyrim sounds very attractive to me.
is it gonna be Harrison Ford voice acting? That's what I need
No
to know.
way. No way.
We have none of that information. All we know is that it's an Indiana Jones game from Bethesda. That's all that was announced this week. It was a short little teaser trailer. That all it was them showing the whip and him picking up the whip or something. You don't even see him, just his hand.
If it's
So-
not
Okay.
Shia LaBeouf, I don't care.
Was it CGI Harrison Ford? Or did it look like.
I don't know. It looked live action, but it was definitely a game announcement from Bethesda. So
I wonder if they're gonna use the same voice actor as Nathan Drake.
that would be
Was it-
funny, actually.
Was it Nolan North? Is it?
Yeah. I think
Nolan
so.
North is Nathan Drake. Yeah.
I wouldn't be
I want-
surprised.
Speaking of Uncharted,
No, no,
and we've
it's
been
alive.
kind of talking about movies a little bit. Spider-Man is going to be Nathan Drake, so that's kind of cool. Tom Holland, that is, I guess, not Spider-Man, but Tom Holland is going to be
Oh, yeah.
Nathan Drake. I know that was announced a couple of weeks
Oh.
ago.
Yeah, that was
But-
announced before Christmas.
I was going,
Mhm.
like, wait, they switched to voice actor for Spider-Man PS4 again?
No, I was
They actually
very
didn't switch the
confused.
voice actor for that, just so you know. That they just switched the on-screen animation for it. I know that's weird, but
Okay. So
Wait,
they kept the same guy.
No.
wait,
Kept Ben 10.
they didn't get the Firefly guy. I don't remember his name, but
Oh,
Nathan
he'd be
Fillion.
good.
Yeah, Nathan
Yeah.
Fillion.
I like
Nathan Fillion would be an incredible Nathan Drake. He would
That's
be so good.
that's
Yeah.
literally his personality in like every single movie that he's done.
I thought there were rumors about Nathan Drake doing it.
Nathan
He
Fillion
liked
being
he
Nathan
wanted
Drake.
it.
There were rumors about it, but
Yeah.
it ended up being Tom Holland. So I mean,
he even made
He's
like
younger.
a short
Makes sense.
like little movie, didn't he? Or like a little.
I think he did a short for
Yeah.
Uncharted.
Yeah, I think he did a
Nathan
short.
Fillion did.
What has he done recently?
Nothing that I remember.
I think he's done some
Firefly.
video game stuff.
Dude, Firefly is so old. That wasn't recent.
I mean,
I
I,
don't
know
remember
he
anything
did
else he's done.
ODST,
Yeah.
who's the vocals for them.
All right. So next on video game news, it looks like the shortages for next-gen consoles are reaching over into 2021, with no end in sight. It just seems like people aren't going to be able to get these consoles until Christmas this coming year. So
Wow.
2021 will be a long year for those people wanting the next-gen consoles, unless you were lucky enough to live in Hawaii and get one on day one, like some of the people in this chat. So
That reminds me. Is that
Quick-
because of the was it microchip shortage?
they haven't really said why they're struggling to produce them. Sony's producing more of the PlayStations than Xbox is producing the. I forget. Is it Series X? Is that what the new Xbox is called? I don't know. Their naming starts to suck, so it's hard to remember which Xbox is which. But Sony has produced. I think they said they're up to 7 million produced PS5 so far.
That's a lot.
Just a
They have
quick.
produced a ton of them. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna interject real quick about the Nathan Fillion thing before we got too far. He's in Suicide Squad that's coming out this year. He was in The Rookie.
The game?
No, it says post production, so I don't know if it's supposed to be Suicide Squad 2 or what, or whatever the new one is. But he's labeled as TDK. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Maybe that's a character. I don't know. But that's most recent on his IMDb, and then he's done Starfinder. He's done a bunch of Robot Chicken stuff. He was in Big Mouth, I guess, as himself, and then he's done a ton of voiceover work over the past three years. A ton of voiceover work. And then yeah, he was in 2018 in a live action short for Uncharted. He was Nathan Drake. So
I thought so. I
And then-
thought I remembered him being that.
and then of course he was Cade 6 in Destiny 2.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And spoiler alert a little bit here, so spoiler alert tag, but them killing him kind of destroyed my love of Destiny, because he was one of the best characters in the whole game, and them getting rid of him really peeved me.
I'm sure he's not dead.
He's dead, Ryan. He hasn't come back.
I don't know, dude. I haven't played that game in a year and a half, so he might be back. I
Since
don't
he
know.
died. Since he died, we have
Since-
not played that game.
A little bit a little bit after that, yeah.
All
But,
right.
Sorry.
So moving on. So like we said, video game shortage. It looks like it's going to cross over. They said they should be more readily available by June to July of 2021, which is kind of still a long time. But anyways, speaking of still video game spending up 27% in 2020 compared to the previous 3 years. So up 27%. So with the pandemic, people being indoors and stuff, it really was a booming year for video games. More people buying games and stuff to do at home, because they can't be going out. Not that affects any of us, because we would have bought games still anyways. But I mean,
Do you know if that's by quantity or money value, like total?
it's money value. It's total money.
Total money
So-
spent, yeah.
So yes, while the PS5 and the Xbox was $500 each, so I mean that is a big part of it. So it's a new console year, but
Yeah.
also people were buying more games because
Well, I'd like to
people were
see.
stuck at home. So
I'd like to see the stats like broken down a little bit because there was a lot of really big titles released. You know, with the consoles, the Miles Morales game came out. I know WoW released a new expansion last year. I believe Final Fantasy Online released a new expansion. There's been a ton of games over the past year that have come out that have been solid. You know, Last of Us Part 2. What was it? Doom at the beginning of the year with what was it? What was that other game? Animal Crossing.
Ghost of
Thank you.
Tsushima.
Ghost of Tsushima. There were so many big titles released last year. I don't know if it's just because of the pandemic or it's because it was just a good year for games.
I think it's a mixture of both, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think it was an incredible year for video games. Like you said, we had so many big titles, so many
Hades,
big
yeah.
games that came out. Shocking title of the year, actually. Like, I love Hades. It was incredible. There's a reason it was a contender for Game of the Year, but in the end, Last of Us Part 2 had my vote. So, anyways, continue. It was just a huge year for video games.
Yeah.
And I think it's becoming less taboo to be a video gamer now. Like, it's more accepted. People are more open to being labeled as a video gamer. It used to 10, 15
You're
years
just a
ago.
gamer.
Like, if you were a video gamer, you're like, oh, what a loser that guy is. Now it's like, you're a video gamer. Oh, shoot, what do you play?
I don't think that makes us
Like-
less losers. I think that just gives us a wider net to start conversations. You know,
I
there's
do
just
think
there's
the
just
stigma
more
has
of
been
us.
removed from it a little bit.
A little
I
bit.
think it's less, oh, that guy's a loser and he has no friends, and more now like, oh, that guy prefers to play with friends online. I don't know if that makes sense, but like, I mean, I think that's a pretty big thing.
Well, we could talk
It's
about
a
this.
good thing.
We could talk
You
about
can
this
talk
all day.
about it. It's more mainstream now, if you want to put it that way, or more socially
Yeah, I mean,
acceptable. Yeah.
Time to stop playing
Exactly.
video games, boys.
I mean, some of them, like League. It's time to stop playing
It's
League.
time to be a hipster again and stop playing whatever's cool.
Back to the Atari.
Back to the Atari.
Back to the Atari did have a new
Honestly,
console announcement.
weren't they
in
supposed?
2020,
Yeah,
so
they announced a console or something last year.
I don't think it's released yet. I think it releases this year.
Yeah, it's
So
supposed to come out this year.
Yeah, we haven't talked about the new Pokemon Snap trailer that dropped the other day.
I didn't even watch the
yesterday,
trailer.
eh,
Did you watch the trailer?
Should. I did watch the
I haven't.
trailer.
I did watch the trailer. I wasn't a big fan of Pokemon Snap. I know it was a big thing to a lot of people, but it was just it was boring to me when I was a kid. So I doubt it'll be any more exciting to me now as an adult. Like, taking pictures of Pokemon is not what was my cup of tea. Maybe it was some other people's, and that's cool if it's their cup of tea. But
Zach
It was more
prefers
so
good old
the
animal
inter-
fights.
Yeah, it was
I
more
prefer
so
them
the
to slaughter each
interaction
other.
and seeing the Pokemon live out like you always kind of imagine they would, and you're like, well, we'll get this in other games. But
Don't
those
quote-
other games never came.
Don't quote me
so
on
it was
this.
always just
Is it the first official 3D release of a Pokemon game?
no, because
Snap?
they had the battle arenas and stuff. Years
That
ago on
preceded
64.
Snap.
Yeah,
I want to say it was the
You know
first 3D. I want to say it was the first
Good
3D
question.
Pokemon game.
the original Snap, maybe so actually.
Research time. We can move on to something else while I look this up.
All right. So the next thing, slightly to do with video gaming, Twitch got rid of the PogChamp emote this past week.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that.
Cowards.
Okay.
So I know it's
Yeah.
a little bit political, but the reason they got rid of it is because they said the guy that
The guy who originated
emote was
yeah.
inciting violence on Twitter. Yeah. So they said he was inciting violence on Twitter, which
You cut out there a second. Sorry.
oh, sorry. The guy that originated the emote, they said he was inciting violence on Twitter, which, if you actually read his tweet that he sent, was not doing that. It's just kind of a big thing in the community because that is the third most used emote on Twitch, is the PogChamp emote. So it was just kind of a big thing this week in the Twitch video gaming world, kind of.
So, just to get clarification, it's not that someone was using the PogChamp emote, like as on a it's decorative. It's like artwork or whatever, and any kind of protest, or it's the actual person that the PogChamp is based off of. Said
Correct.
something.
Yeah.
And it was interpreted probably incorrectly by someone at Twitch, and they
Agreed.
decided to ban.
Well, Twitch took
Not ban him to get rid of the emote completely. They
no.
erased
They
the
also
emote. You
they
cannot
also
use
banned.
the emote.
They did also ban his account.
Oh, okay. So they did
Yeah,
ban
so
his
they
account
also
too.
banned his Twitch. Now,
So
Two
from
for
a
one special.
I mean, from a business
Wow.
standpoint, they're covering their butts. Is what they're doing.
Lawyers have people like
was hoping
wearing
to see
chastity
this.
belts, man. They're like hiding in a room, like scared of the lawyers coming to like do bad things.
Well, I've
Lawyers
done
are
a
scared of
little.
other lawyers.
So I've listened to some guys, some Twitch streamers talk about this a little bit, and the conclusion I came to is that they're trying to be extra safe because Amazon owns them. Amazon has owned them for a little over 2 years, or about 2 years now, and I think they're trying to play it as safe as possible so that Amazon doesn't drop them because they are not profitable. Especially with all the DMCA claims that are going on right now. I think Twitch is kind of walking a thin line, and the lawyers are doing everything they can to keep Amazon from just dropping them.
So that they haven't been making enough money, and they're
Yeah, well, especially now with the DMCA claims that have been happening and the fight with YouTube, because when it comes to content, Twitch has a lot of streamers, but in the grand scope of things, the people who watch and stream on Twitch is barely a drop in the bucket of the people on YouTube or on Facebook. You know, they're competing with YouTube at this point because you can stream on YouTube now, which is why Twitch also has those non-compete clauses in their contracts if you sign up. A lot of the time, they make you exclusivity clause is what they have. So I think that's what's happening. I think that they're trying to take anything that could get them dropped from Amazon, and they're just trying to just be like, no, see, we're not a part of that. We don't support that. Don't leave.
Yeah, good old Papa Money.
Yeah, well,
if they do it,
that's what
if
happens.
they do it too much, they'll probably end up losing people.
Well, they've lost people to
Loads
YouTube
of streamers
for sure.
have moved over to YouTube and the Facebook streaming. So
Yeah, Facebook's probably going to get dropped too because they're not profitable either. But Mixer didn't work out, so YouTube is always going to be a safe bet, and visibility is better on YouTube anyway.
yeah.
What I'm really hoping will arise out of all of this is
Which is why we
that
don't stream on Twitch.
we
Sorry.
can have some other platforms that are much better as far as monetary flows and not having insidious algorithms and not censoring so strongly upon political beliefs and that kind of thing. So.
I'm ready for a different YouTube platform. I feel like we started heading that direction for years, and I feel like when you log in nowadays, unless you're watching someone that's playing hardcore to the algorithm, you'll get those people that are touting the line between kind of playing the game but still trying to keep some of their integrity, and they'll just be upfront a lot of times about how hard it is in the current climate to maintain like what you want to do and not just being the carbon copy that YouTube wants you to be across the board.
YouTube definitely wants you to be a carbon copy for sure. Like they want everyone to be the exact same. And like if you're not following their algorithm, you're not gonna get put into the algorithm to get viewed. So
I'm not gonna
but
say
we love you. We love you, YouTube.
I'm not
So
gonna agree
please.
with that because I think what they want is they want enough diversity in their YouTubers to draw in new people. Because if you're gonna be the same person as the other guy, no one's gonna watch you.
But that's what you have is you have a bunch of people with how they're doing it that are basically the same.
Well,
They're
you have
pretty much the same
people who are
personalities,
you
the same
have
reactions.
well you what you have is a bunch of people who are following a template that is proved to work. They're not intentionally going through and finding people that are doing the same thing just with a new face, because that's not how you get famous, right? That's not how you get Twitch big. If Corpse sounded just like anybody else, he would have never blown up the way he did. He had to
I
have
don't
something.
know. I feel like he was super lucky, to be honest.
All of them
Well,
are super lucky. I mean, there's
I'm not
plenty
going
of
to say
times where a lot of it's timing. Like,
that's definitely a thing. I think
Corpse got to stream with like Valkyrie and like a bunch of other people that are already huge. He was nothing, and they heard his voice and they're like, "Hey, come stream with us for a little bit."
well,
And just
that's
the time and place, he got super lucky. Don't
that's
get me wrong.
not
Everyone loved his voice,
entirely
but
that's not entirely true, but there was some really good luck there, right? Like a lot of it's time and place, and then putting in the work when it's not paying off. There's tons of streamers I know who put in lots of work before they ever got quote big. Tons of YouTubers who like had only a couple thousand viewers, a couple thousand subs before
and now
their
they're
channels
like
take off.
hundreds of or not hundreds of millions, but like
Well, that's
10,
that's
15
like how the
million,
template
yeah.
goes, right? When you're trying to make it big on YouTube, you're making videos. And you either go viral because you did something cool and somebody starts posting it on like Reddit or 4chan or
Or
something,
did something stupid.
or you find another big YouTuber, big streamer who comes across your video and they're like, "Oh, that's really cool. I want in on that," and then they promote your channel, and that's how you grow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's networking 101, but yeah, there's some luck and then there's some hard work. On the Pokemon thing, though, it does look like the first Pokemon Stadium came out a year before.
I knew it.
A year before Pokemon Snap.
A year before Snap on 64?
I think so.
are you sure?
First
love
Pokemon Stadium. Well, 1998 was Pocket Monster Stadium, August 1st. Let me see if I can find Pokemon Snap again. Where was it?
No, Snap was released on 1999.
Yeah, that's what I thought I saw. I thought it was 1999. Do you have it pulled up, Seth?
Yeah, it's stating here that it was the first console-based game that featured many Pokemon rendered for the first time in real-time 3D. So what
1999,
that could
yeah.
also mean it's not that it was the first one, but that for some of the Pokemon in the game they didn't make it in the stadium.
Oh yeah, Stadium
obviously.
only featured like the most popular Pokemon. So I mean, it makes sense that a lot of Pokemon were featured in 3D for the first time in Snap. But
Yeah, not just that, like it got rid of any kind of previous evolution because you didn't need like Charmander and Charmeleon when you could just get Charizard. Like why would I fight with one of those two when I could just use the most powerful form of it? Versus in Snap where power doesn't matter and it's all about the visuals, then yeah, you want all the different ones.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's what that is. Even though Pocket Monster Stadium,
Our
I don't remember that.
very last section of the night is going to be a new section we do. We're going to kind of do this for at least a couple of weeks. We're going to do kind of a round robin, our favorite of 2020 section where we're going to talk about the different things we loved in 2020. This week is going to be a mixture of anime and hentai, or not hentai. Anime,
Wow.
and manga.
The Freudian
Anime
slip.
and manga.
Let's go.
But, anime and manga, not hentai. So
Who watches hentai?
we can start with Blaze.
What is hentai?
And we can walk. Shut up, Ryan. We can work our way down. Just going from the list on the thing here. So Blaze, we're gonna do 3 each. You cannot repeat what you've heard. Either it can be a webtoons, a manga, or
I'm gonna have to take notes.
an anime. So your 3 favorite. Just starting with number 1 right now. We're gonna go around the room. So
Blaze is going first.
I get the easy one.
Oh, he's gonna take all the good ones. It's all right. I think mine's are covered.
The one that I enjoyed the most was, and I haven't watched the anime, but I've been reading the webtoon, God of High School.
I knew you were gonna take that one.
So just give us a little
Yeah.
bit of a synopsis. What's going on with it in case
Oh,
anyone here
no,
hasn't
absolutely
seen or
not.
read it.
Absolutely not.
Spo-
That's so much. No.
spoilers.
That is
Just a
so
small
much.
synopsis.
No, it's so much. We're gonna be here forever.
Oh
No,
my goodness.
just 2 sentences. What is this webtoons?
All right, you're gonna have to
Goku.
edit this video.
It's Goku.
All right, that's pretty good. That's pretty accurate.
Yeah,
It's
that's
Goku.
understandable. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
So super powerful protagonist. Cool.
All right, that's
All right.
one.
Onwards to Seth.
Okay, so I
Wait.
only get one.
You get 3, but we're going
Oh,
round
we're
robin.
starting-
Round robin means you go around the room.
Okay, gotcha. So, you know what? For the first one, I'll go with a story I've been reading, which I will be surprised if they don't turn into an anime because it's the perfect contender for it. It's called Record of Ragnarok.
Oh,
What it basically.
it's coming. By the way,
Oh,
it's,
have you been reading that one?
it's confirmed coming.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Did you not see the trailer? Sorry.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, there's
They
a
have
trailer.
it on
Those of you-
trailer. It looks incredible. Okay.
I mentioned it last
Synopsis.
podcast, I think.
Yeah.
I wasn't on your last podcast.
I know. I'm sorry.
Anyway. So for those, well, if you've been paying attention, then you should already know what it's about. So I'll just keep it brief. Essentially, long story short, the gods from all pantheons have decided that they're just tired of humanity and they're going to get rid of it. The Valkyries have come together and, as harbingers of warriors of the past, are really attached to humanity and want to give humanity one last final chance. And so the gods have agreed to do basically a battle royale where the Valkyries get to pick the top of humanity's greatest and then fight against all the gods. So like Zeus, Poseidon, Azura, I think is one of them, and then some of the others
spoilers?
that we haven't get there. How are those spoilers? They're literally like the first couple ones that they even established. Like, hey, we're going to be the fighters. The ones I haven't mentioned aren't the ones that are the surprise one. Those are all the ones that
No.
they show at the very beginning. Like, hey,
No, but there is some really cool fights and some really interesting characters. But yeah, that's pretty dope.
Sounds interesting. I may give that one a look.
it does a good job too of setting the realm of here's where the gods are and here's where humanity's supposed to be at
You're
the
way
bottom.
over 2 sentences.
You know.
Yeah.
Way over
All
2
right.
sentences.
Oh, it's supposed to be in 2 sentences.
Yes.
I apologize.
Yep. Onwards to Ryan. You're number 1 on your list.
Number 1. Hold on, that is not what I wanted for my number 1.
Probably still one of mine. I feel like it's on your list.
Well, no, we're only picking 3, right? So I have a couple that I really liked. I'm gonna go with. I think I'm either gonna go with words that aren't in my head right now because I'm looking for the anime right now. I'm not gonna steal the one that I think Zach is gonna use. I guess I'm just gonna go with the Irregular Magic High School Season 2.
Ooh.
Excellent. Very good.
Yes. I know it finished up like right at the beginning. It's either the beginning of this year or like right at the end of last year, but it was a fall anime from last year. And I've been looking forward to season 2 for so long, and it's only on Funimation right now.
All right. So synopsis.
It's like Magic Goku, kind of.
Mm.
It's like
Goku is Magic
it's like super smart.
not
Super
Goku.
smart robot Magic Goku, even though he's not a robot. That's basically what he is. Yeah, overpowered magic nerd.
Yep. That is a good one. Mine technically came out in, unless Fuzz, you want to do one? I know you said you were reading something, so you can.
So I will say my number 1 web comic that I've started reading here recently is Control Alt Delete Comic. There's 3 different strands. The comic's been going since 2002, and the
Whoa.
animation since that time has gotten way better, as you might imagine. And there's 3 different strands that are like storylines that are separate comics that get published on that website by the same artist / story writer. And I enjoy his humor, and the stuff that he talks about is kind of nerdy and that kind of stuff. And so that's a comic that I really enjoy. He has not daily releases, but he has pretty regular releases. So
Okay. Okay. So that sounds interesting. I may control delete what? What was the last
It's
word
just
you said?
Control Delete Comic, or
Comic. Okay.
I think the website is something like CAD/comic or something like that. I don't know.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah.
So my number one is not actually what you thought it was, Ryan.
Oh.
Mine is Tower of God.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
The webtoon, not the anime actually. The anime was okay, but the webtoon for me was just I couldn't stop reading. I read late into the night every night till I fell asleep reading it, and it was just I could not get enough of it. So basically, a two-sentence synopsis: you have this guy who has the power of absorption and can learn everything after one try, and he wants to see the sun. So that is Tower of God. It is
It's
super
Goku Nemo.
interesting. No, no more Goku. You cannot say Goku in any more synopsises.
That's not fair. I like
Call
most of the
Goku.
animes is Goku. Okay.
But we're going back up to Blaze. So Blaze, number 2 for you.
All right, number 2. It's a web comic. I don't know.
gonna
Have
hurt
you
you.
guys ever read Gosu?
Okay.
Oh, that's been a little while. Yeah.
I have heard of it,
That
have
was
not
good.
read it.
You mean the
myself
famous Twitch
yet.
streamer Gosu?
No.
Mm,
Definitely the webtoons Gosu.
Anyway, it's about a uh, martial artist, and think it's I think it's China. Like, are they Chinese or
They're Korean.
We are. They're
Webtoons is
Chinese or
Korean.
Korean, yeah. So it could be either one.
I don't know if their ancient history was similar to China, but anyway, it's got like old school martial arts vibes, and there's a lot of warring factions. But it's about this guy who is trying to avenge his master,
Hmm.
in like an old school martial arts setting.
I had it on my list to read, but I may move it up of the things that I'm reading. So
The animation is pretty good, or the drawing is pretty good.
okay.
There was an anime that came out. I think it was an anime that came out recently that had some really good martial arts displays in their animation. Was there lots of like?
That was God of High School.
No,
It
it
was
wasn't. It's
awesome.
not that one. Was there magic or some form of like key usage?
Yes, but I don't think they made an anime out of it.
Okay,
Or I
then
it's probably not as good as the webcomic. 'Cause
well,
it's
it
still
rarely,
ongoing.
It really ever is.
That's
so.
kind of like Tower of God. Like I
It-
had such high hopes for Tower of God, and then the anime is just kind of disappointing in comparison. So
All right, Ryan, did people explode?
I don't know. I just saw clips of it. I didn't see
If
the anime
people
yet. I'm
didn't
looking for it.
explode, it's not the same.
all right. So
It's probably not it.
Seth, number 2 for you, my friend.
I think Ryan's gonna hate me for this one because I feel like I'm fixing to steal another one of his.
If you say it, I'm gonna hurt you.
But
Say
I'm
it.
just
Go
gonna
ahead.
say Solo Level.
I knew you were gonna say it. I knew it.
I have just started reading that one. It's incredible so far.
It is
Right
beautifully
on here that I hate Seth.
illustrated, like
Will be an
high-tier
anime this year
content.
too. So
I'm not gonna watch
Really,
it.
mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna watch
Where
it.
where are you
some of the
guys?
fight scenes I've been interested to see, like I've been curious about because they're so well done. I wonder if they translate as well onto like the live action screen or not. But just to give a brief synopsis of it, it's a typical story of, you know, game character gets game cheats, if you want to put it that way, but it's in or Korea. It happens. So typical anime just growth thing, but it's done in a satisfying way. The character is going on like the power trip, but they do the scaling really well, so he's not just like leaps and bounds over nothing and make him work for it.
Yeah, it's like a Kirito. It's like Kirito and Gate, not Steins Gate, just Gate had a love child, and then you threw that guy into the world of Attack on Titan a
Yeah,
little bit,
and
like modern day Attack
they
on Titan, and that's kind of how it goes.
And
and the
it's
best way.
incredible. I cannot wait for the anime. I hope it even partially translates to anime because some of those fight scenes are just gonna be
I'm
resplendent.
glad. I'm glad that
Yeah,
it's getting
it's
an
good
anime. I'm
in
just
this. Yeah, it's good in the same
stirred.
way like Dragon Ball's good. Is the story groundbreaking or anything? No. Is it bringing anything new to the table? No. But how it does its delivery, how it does its scenes, and just like it's all cool moments and excellent fight scenes. Yeah, that's what gets it going. It's like I don't need it to be a complex emotional story. Just give me the really cool action scenes and the BA moments, and I'm like, heck yeah, and let me go. It's a fun ride.
All right. Another good recommendation. This list is good so far. Ryan,
I hate you.
you're second,
I hate
even though Seth has your 1 and 2. So what is your
Fifth
number
and
4
sixth.
actually?
Yeah.
So it wasn't my second. It was just on my list of things to talk about. It was actually going to be my second. Record of Ragnarok was probably going to be my third. Anyway, I'm going to catch some flack for this, but Kaguya-sama: Love is War came out. Season 2 came out over the fall as well, and there's something so funny about the cringy situations they put themselves in, along with the animations and like just the dry slapstick humor they have a lot of the time. Really just scratches that itch. If you just want to watch something and just look at the screen, like what is happening, and just laugh. It was a really good like decompress anime. I really enjoyed season 2. I mean, there's some cringy moments in it, and there's definitely some like, okay, well, this wasn't targeted to me because I'm like a 30-year-old man. But if you want to decompress and you just want to watch an anime without getting too invested and just like chill, season 2 of Kaguya-sama: Love is War is probably my number 2 pick.
All right,
So would you
all right.
say did season 2 get rid of some of the anime cringe that wasn't in the original story? The first season did. Did it just pad the runtime?
Probably not.
Okay. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about like the over explanation trope where they redo a scene every single anime to where it just gets repetitive. It
Oh,
doesn't exist in like
So
the
the
original
Naruto
story.
phenomenon.
Yeah, or like the start of Fairy Tale where they have to
Mm.
do a full wind up animation for each attack.
Half the episode, every episode is
No.
what happened last episode. Yeah, it's annoying.
No. So
Or
the episodes are structured in like halves, right? So you get an episode where it's usually the first 10 to 15 minutes something happens and they resolve the issue, and then the next 15 minutes something different happens and they resolve the issue, or they don't. It's mostly just like short anime comic skits. Mostly it's not, it doesn't even really have a cohesive story. Really, it's just a comedy like slice of life anime. It's okay. I didn't even tell you about it. It's basically about two people in high school, a girl and a guy in high school, who are too proud to admit they like each other. So they basically have like this war game, this war mind game where they're trying to get the other to confess that they like each other. And they both refuse to do it. So it's kind of funny to watch them interact and like try and mind game each other, and watch everybody else
Hmm.
be like, "Would you guys just kiss already? Just."
I think I saw the preview for that. It looks funny.
It's funny. I like it. Chica is best waifu. Everybody knows who Chica is. If you don't, I will post a picture in Discord and you will immediately recognize her.
So Fuzz, if I know you said you had limited numbers on this topic, but do you have a second thing that you've read or watched anime slash manga?
I do. I have another web comic. This one's called Lunar Baboon, and it's just really wholesome. That's all I have to say about it. Like it's just a very wholesome, like feel good web comic in sort of the best way. both of these web comics I put in my feed at work. I've been using a website called Feedly, which is a content aggregator. I've chosen it over Reddit for my work usage because I can control what's in there and make sure that no not safe for work pictures pop up. Um, and it's really decent at that. So, but yeah, that's my thing, Lunar Baboon. But also, I am going to go ahead and post a link to Control Alt Delete because I think that's something which you guys might genuinely enjoy. So,
Okay.
We lost Fuzz for a second. He's back.
yeah, sorry. Anyway, I'm just post that in here. So, if I can stop hitting the plus button. All right. Yeah, there's a Control Alt Delete comic, and also I'll post Lunar Baboon. But if you don't have to look at it if you don't want. I'm just posting it because it's also a reference.
So wholesome. Give us a little bit of a synopsis besides it's wholesome.
Okay. I will just. So it's panel comics, is what it is, and I'll just. My best thing is like I'll just read you one of the comics and see how you feel about it, right? So this one is a couch, and it's what it seems to be a husband and a wife, and the husband is reading the book, and the wife says, "Sigh, what a garbage day." And then the next panel, "Think you can do that sexy thing you do to cheer me up?" And then in the next panel, "Do you mean spend quality time with you?" And then the next panel, "And occasionally say something that makes you laugh?" And she replies, "Oh yeah, that's the stuff." So it's just very wholesome.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice.
Gotcha.
Nice. All right, Zach.
All right.
We're gonna speed
So
run the
my
rest of this.
next one, yep, is my one that I know the first season came out in 2019, but I started watching it in 2020. Fire Force. It is just basically everyone has different fire powers, and they're firefighters that fight living fire. And it's just, I know that doesn't sound that interesting, but when you see it in live action, it's very interesting, and I thought it was excellent. So,
Wasn't it made by the people who did Soul Eater?
yep,
Yes.
the Soul Eater people did the Fire Force stuff. So I love Soul Eater, and this also wound up right in my love of that same genre. So it's really good. So
Yeah, like season 2 is out already.
yep, season 2 is out. It came out last year. So I watched through the whole thing in 2020. So
Nice. All right, Blaze, we're gonna speed run.
All right. The Gamer. It's basically, I think they wrapped up the season recent or this year, and it's basically about a guy who gets powers to live life like a video game, and there's like mages and stuff, and he becomes very powerful.
is this a webtoon or is this a
Webtoon.
anime? Okay.
I think Andy was actually reading it from the beginning.
Oof.
I have to stop and do that myself sometimes. Whenever it's caught up on like, so many chapters, I'm like, I don't know where I was in the story. We're just gonna start over.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Seth.
All right, so I might have to pick a different one because I can't. I'm trying to find the name of this one that I was gonna pick, and I'm a little sad because I had found it and I had scrolled past it on my list. So there's several honestly I could do for this one.
Right. 3 isn't enough. If we don't have time.
It's
for
not,
one.
but we have to
yeah,
have
but
a
we're-
limit to our podcast somehow. So continue.
So we're going with that. Well, hopefully, if anyone wanted to Google it by its description alone, you'd be able to find it because it's kind of a unique one. So what it's about, it's a typical, character gets transported into the world with video game abilities.
So an
The
isekai.
caveat, yeah, sure, a seki, but it's not one like, oh, they got hit by truck sign and get reincarnated. It's like one of those they're sitting in the crash room with everyone else, and all of a sudden they just wake up in the new place. Except the twist here is they wake up in the body of a spider monster. And your main character, the girl, is having to go adjust to her new life as a spider monster in a dungeon, and just her descent
Is that the
into.
So What I'm a Spider anime?
Yeah, I
so
think
I'm
that
a
might be the
spider.
actual.
So what?
Yeah.
That might be the English translation name. So
Okay.
I've been enjoying that one. It's been have a
did
good.
you read it?
Hmm?
Did you read it?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe I'll watch the anime when it comes out.
I read it. It was
It's
kind
called
of
Rechnera
funny.
Arachnera.
I could see the anime,
Something like
if done by a lower end studio, making it be boring with slow pacing. But with enough pacing, it was entertaining enough to get through. And I like the premise of, an inhuman person being the main character, because I'm tired of normal people. Let me see some kind of alien or monster take the lead.
Yeah,
So
you
it-
were always more into that kind of stuff.
Seth
I
does
just
love
like
him the Monster Girls.
He does like the Monster Girls.
I like the different
Monster.
perspectives.
No, we're not. No. It's DMCA. No.
Especially you say that, I hate Monster Musume.
Oh, shut up. No, you don't. Nobody
You're
hates
not-
that.
You're not singing it right.
We're not going to sing it the right way.
All right.
So for my
Ryan,
third,
your next one.
there's so many that is really difficult to just pick one. So I'm going to go with one that I've found over time that I still really enjoy. Even though I want it to be Bleach, it's not. Log Horizon actually is getting a season 2 this spring. I think it's either spring or summer. We're getting I think it's a season 3 actually of Log Horizon. I'm super excited for that because I really enjoyed the original Log Horizon, which it's an isekai essentially, except it sticks a little bit closer to the MMO. The MMO setup, where it's a lot more involving in the menus and then involving game mechanics, or what the game mechanics would be. And I don't know, I just like it. It's quaint. It's not super flashy. It doesn't insist upon itself. It just exists and is solid.
I do like me some isekai. So.
Yeah.
All right, Fuzz, your third and final, if you have one.
Can I do a twofer and state one that everybody already knows, and then a second one?
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah. So the one that I'm just going to throw out there because it's already really famous is the XKCD comic. Because I would assume that most people know that. It seems to be like meme popular at this point. Just a smart guy who makes sort of dry humor panel comics out of stick figures. That's really, I would say, for people who like thinking hard about things. And then my real answer is I haven't read it in a while, but I have read it in 2020, and it's called 10 Earth Shattering Blows, and it's a pretty interesting comic. I don't know what's really going on yet with these things. You have to sort of wait as they release them to understand, but it's a good art style. And the best thing I can say is that the setting is sort of D&D like, but it's also definitely an off kilter. Like it's a darker sort of feel to it already, even though nothing dark has happened yet. That's the best I can give you because it's just one of these things where like it started and I don't know what the purpose of it is yet.
Gotcha. My third and final one is one I started in 2020 and have continued now into 2021. Mine is Demon Slayer, and I have been watching it actually recently with Ryan here, and it's just incredible. Like the animation alone is just breathtaking, and what they do in animation, it just doesn't even seem possible. It's just so beautiful. So,
Isn't that one you actually put down?
Hmm?
Isn't that one you actually had to come back for?
Yeah. So I originally hated it, because of one of the characters, and I just couldn't. I could not watch it. Like I was done. Like I couldn't stand the character. But through many recommendations of several friends, I have continued it, and I'm glad I did because although that character is super annoying, um, it is worth it in the end because the fights and the animation make up for the annoying whining character. But so basically, a 2 sentence synopsis. Um, Main character is super weak and has to train to become a demon slayer. So,
Don't say
and
Goku.
that's that.
Yep.
It's incredible. So, all right, guys. Well, that is our podcast for today on January 15th. This is podcast number 7 of the Ignorant Experts. Hope y'all enjoyed. Have a great night.